All right. Hey, everyone. Welcome to the No Guts, No Galaxy podcast 151. I am your host, Phil. Darren is not here. I'd like to apologize. He is not feeling well. He's actually under the weather. I believe he caught whatever side strafe had at MechCon. So I'd like to take this moment to say, Mama Bear, get well soon. Rest up, drink lots of water, and rest, man. And you'll be back soon. But anyways, quick shout outs to everyone in chat. Hopefully you're having a great day, night, morning, wherever you are in the world. What is going on, guys? Bam! Here we are back for podcast 151. This is actually the first time I am doing a podcast by myself. So instead of me thinking I'm going to be talking to myself, I'll be talking to you guys. But it is December 7th, 2016, and we are back from MechCon, and man, do I have a bunch to go over. And yeah, I actually wanted to take the time to sort of go over last podcast. We actually talked about this trip and in detail. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. But yeah, guys, don't forget, if you'd like to help support the podcast, retweets are appreciated. Go drop those links in the chat. They go a long way to supporting the podcast. But yeah, some first quick shout outs. I'd like to say thank you to everyone at MechCon, all of you guys who me and Darren met, and just the overwhelming support you guys showed. You guys had, just nothing but positive thoughts. And I just want to say thank you. It was a pleasure meeting all of you guys, and I'm sure I'm going to be talking about that soon. But I just wanted to get that out of the way. It means the world to me to have you guys come up and share your experiences, your positivity, and that's what we do it for. And so yeah, thank you. Not the other way around. Thank you guys. But okay, let's go and dive into. Let's break down MechCon. First off, for those that were there, the location. I felt like MechCon at the Commodore Ballroom was fantastic. Like you walked in, you went up some stairs, you came into the venue. It was nothing but Battletech around, Battletech MechWarrior. We had the banners up on the second story there. It looked fantastic. I was super excited. I actually helped out with the banners, just saying. And those actually took longer than you think. They were actually, for those that don't know, the banners, all the faction banners, they were like 18 feet tall. And we had to condense them into smaller versions because we couldn't have them hanging low enough to where people could hit them with their heads. Like the venue was like, no, you can't do that. And then like securing them, we couldn't bolt them into anything. So it was one of those things where we had to get creative, but they looked fantastic. The first thing I thought was, can I take home the Clan Wolf one? And they said, no, these are all going in the office afterwards. And I said, well, if one is missing, it wasn't me, right? And I think everybody that saw him was like, ooh, I want one of those. So it was fantastic as far as that. And then also like the order, it was actually really cool. They're like, what order? There's 6 IS and 4 clans. And I was like, how about we do like the clan invasion in the middle? Jade Falcon, Wolf, Ghost Bear, and then Smoke Jaguar. And then, anyways, it worked out. So anyways, that was really cool. So great location. It was a long day. For those that showed up around 12, it went all the way to pretty much 12 o'clock. I got there around I think it was around 10. And just prep and stuff like that. But prep had been going on for months previously, and I think it really showed. I mean, you guys that were watching and you guys that were there, I think a lot of people didn't know really what to expect at MechCon, right? Like they for those that have been to the Steam launch party, this wasn't like that. And for those that remember San Francisco, this was a huge step forward. And I know I talked to a lot of the comp teams out there that came, and they didn't know what to expect, right? And knowing how much work and effort went into it ahead of time with the planning and prep, I was so excited when people were like, holy crap, this is amazing. It looks awesome. Just Battletech everywhere. And so like for me, the location played into a big part where people could sit down. It was going to be a long day, and that was a big thing to me, is people were actually able to sit down. At the San Francisco launch party, it was pretty claustrophobic, and I think this fixed it. So people were able to chill, relax, it's gonna be a long day, and that was awesome. And of course, we had lunch, dinner, and like snack bars and beer tickets. And beer tickets were getting given out left and right, I think, over at Solaris as well. And food, did you guys have any complaints? All I know is I had plenty to eat. I had lasagna, there was a taco bar, there was poutine, pretty much anything you can think of. The food was on par. I was really happy with that, and it was prompt, it was early. You never went hungry. There was there was wings. So I don't think that was a problem out there with everyone. But yeah, so guests, PGI, staff, Mitch, the HBS guys, it was really cool. Like, so what I was doing is I was basically sort of a helping hand behind the scenes. For those that were there, I had this headset on. I was basically listening to all the chatter that was going on, and you guys didn't get to hear that. And so, like, there's chatter going on when the matches were being played. Mike and Ben weren't being interrupted, but they could be if needed. And there was a few times we were dealing with some technical stuff, and but it was really cool because I was able to run around, grab people that were needed, or move to a location and do like an interview. And the interviews were really awesome. Being able to like actually like talk with Randall, talk with the Hairbrain Schemes guys, and that was actually my first time meeting them. So to me, that was like, it was just fantastic. It was like, dude, like, I don't know if you guys have watched it. Like, I'm like, dude, this is like Jordan right here. That's the man, right? The myth, the legend, the Godfather himself. So interviewing those guys was fantastic, and it felt just, just like how you see him on like the podcast, and just like how you see him on Battletech, right? The Death from Above. That's how Mitch and Mike are, and Jordan. And Tyler, super awesome. You can have conversations with them, and it was really cool to meet them. And of course, Randall Bills and Catalyst Game Labs, they had a lot of volunteers there. I was able to talk to him, and also check out they had basically Alpha Strike setups and stuff going on in the corner. And all the minis, they had a mini Atlas, and a mini Timby. And by the way, Foxy Short Bus won the Atlas on a giveaway. I don't know who won the Timberwolf, but you lucky bastard, whoever you are out there, lucky. But yeah, so we also had Duncan Fisher there for, obviously George Ledoux. It was a pleasure actually finally meeting him. Just super nice guy. He was asked, hey, would you mind doing this quick, introduction at the very beginning? And he did it right on spot, flawless. And of course, it was big to him, and, seeing how his reaction was, throughout the event. I mean, I think a lot of people just really liked having conversations with him. And, it's interesting too, because it's like I was asking him, he did this character for this giant robot stompy game, and next thing you know, that's been one of his most successful, if you will. That created this cult following, right? Duncan Fisher. And all I took away from this is hearing him do this. I would love to see his announcing character, Duncan Fisher, in these Solaris 1v1, 2v2, 4v4 maps. I don't know about you, but hearing him over the loudspeaker would be fantastic. I know we heard him in MechWarrior Living Legends, and I think it'd be great hearing him again in MWO. But that's just my personal opinion. It has no reflection of PGI. I just think it'd be great to actually hear him when you drop in the 1v1 match, which some of you guys got to play and a lot of you guys got to watch. I think it'd be fantastic, as you're coming up the elevator, welcome Mech fans, blah, blah, blah. And, we need to make it happen. So, yes. Anybody? Do you guys agree in chat? I think it'd be fantastic. Side Strafe was there, but he was not feeling well. Hopefully he's feeling a little bit better. And Darren now has the crud he had. But he was there, and then you guys got to see Trainsy TV. He had a blast. I think when I interviewed him, he was like 8 beers in. He was already like lit, and he composed himself really well during the sit down chat. So I guess there's that. But it was awesome meeting him. The first time I actually got to see him was it Saturday? No, Friday. Friday. A lot of the refs and everybody was able to do a walkthrough of the office on Friday, and they had gone out to lunch, and he had arrived, so we went and met him, and as he's walking down the sidewalk with his hat, we're able to say hi, ran up, and he like picked me up, and he's a freaking tall dude, right? Like you're like, oh shit. Now I mean everybody's tall. I think that's you guys made that abundantly clear in all the comments of photos and Twitch and yeah. Oh yeah, by the way, when we first started the night and we did the whole backstage like, hey, why hasn't the stream started stuff? Of course, I look at chat and all I see is, comments of Phil being so short, and I'm like, guys, Darren's like, a tree, right? Anyways, it was great, but yeah, so it was awesome meeting Trainsy, and we had a few guys that weren't able to go. You're 5'2", right? No, I'm 5'7", but when you're standing next to people that are like 6'5", right? You know what? I fit in a tank better, so I guess you got to take I have a lower, center of gravity. I'm able to turn quicker. But okay, and then we also got to meet Bandit and MDM, and let me just say, it has been a pleasure watching those two evolve and improve over the course of the MechWarrior Online tournament. I remember it was first approached when all the planning and prep started. Me and Darren had said we need to get these guys. Look what they're doing with MRBC. Look what they're doing with limited resources. We need to get them. And guess what? I think, in my opinion, it paid off fantastic. Not only the professionalism, the ability to adapt and overcome while things were going on. So quick shout out to Ben and Mike. You guys did a fantastic job. Amazing. I think you raised the bar, man, and it was awesome. And it was awesome meeting you guys. You guys were in the moment, and just sort of watching you from backstage as you guys were doing it live was pretty damn cool. So if you for those out there, if you haven't gave Bandit and MDM haven't been able to say thanks, make sure to do so. Those guys did great, and look forward to again 2017. Maybe I don't know, but also too I'm gonna go out on limb and say I actually really enjoyed that it was your everyman sort of stream, your shoutcasting, right? The t-shirts, for me, I've never dug the League of Legends, Dota, ESPN Ocho, tie and all this, and they're I've never and that's not MWO, and to see just I don't know, it was really cool. I dug it, and again, you guys did fantastic, so thank you for representing and doing such a fantastic job throughout the entire just year. So we also had a Shimmering Sword. Funny enough, like the first day I've met him, he introduced himself as Anthony, and I just didn't even connect. And then like as we were walking, like I turned around and I was like, hold on, who are you again? He was like, Shivy. I was like, oh shit. Like it totally, it was awesome. Like actually finally meeting you, Shim, and yeah, him and Alex were up there, being the stars they are as far as mech porn and creation. But yeah, so the entire thing was just fantastic for a Battletech fan to walk into that ballroom, and you have all the IPs, all the big names there, all the big players. I mean, you had PGI, you had HBS, you had Catalyst, and then you had all the fans that were there because of that. It was great, and the finals matches. I don't know about you guys. I can say it now. I was rooting for 228. You want to talk about the nicest dudes ever? The dudes that bring the party to the party, the atmosphere, the motivation they had, the attitudes they had. They were just super appreciative to be there, and just freaking had a blast. From the first moment I got to meet Jay-Z and all of his guys, it just nothing but positivity, nothing but good things to say. Just holy crap. Like, I was like, Jay-Z is the nicest dude ever. Like, if anybody deserved to be there, these guys, they just talk about sportsmanship. That's what it was. And thank you guys so much for just being that sort of positive, sort of light and good times. And being around Aussies, you know, makes makes the time good. It was good times with those guys. And then I got to meet Eon Synergy, and the first night I met them, didn't really know what to think. I mean, you know, they're sort of soft spoken. Obviously, English wasn't their first language most of the time. Some of them, it was the first time being out of their country. But by Friday and then Saturday, the guys were just super awesome. And I actually got to hang out with some of them on Sunday and talk throughout the day about MechWarrior Online and Battletech and stuff like that. And, you know, props to them for really trying to bring it to EMP. And let's talk about the matches really quick. They almost pulled it away. I mean, that Jenner backstab on the second round, you know, I felt like if they would have been able to just take those mechs down and they pushed the fight on Termaline, that's where it was. I feel like they would have clutched that match and taken it, but it didn't happen, and then EMP was able to pull away, and of course, you know, we know how that ended. And then the third match, where it came down to where they won the fight but lost the cap race because a spider, just that's all it was. The difference between them winning and losing was a legged spider and the summoner left. And it was, I mean, for those that are watching, that's how small of a margin it was for error there, for winning or losing. And so what I saw was they adapted their strategy. The very first match, they realized, okay, these guys want to play a long range. They're great at that, and they shifted. They tried just rushing on Termaline, almost had it, and of course they brought the fight on the third match on Candy Network as well. And to me, it was fantastic, like watching out on the big screen, by the way, at the event. We had 2 huge screens, right? And hearing the crowd, right? For those that were there, like, and those are watching, like, it was legitimate. Like, everyone was cheering them on, and, you know, like, oh crap, a kill just happened, or the push and stuff like. It was just, to hear that, it was pretty cool, right? To experience that. And so, and of course, the last rounds, the finals, props to Eon for trying to bring it, because EMP is just such a damn good team that, you know, you have to. It literally comes down to, and I guess just sort of from the outside, the difference between the top teams is that it's who makes more mistakes, and who makes more mistakes throughout the entire match. And it's those little things, and it all, of course, has to do with just sort of an attrition. And it literally came down to, on those, you know, it just favored EMP. And EMP, by the way, it was awesome actually meeting all of you guys. You guys, the sportsmanship between all the teams was fantastic. There was no malice. It was super awesome being a part of that. And you guys really showed the professionalism out there. So hats off to EMP for winning. You guys obviously deserved it. I mean, and of course Eon and 228 for being there. You guys, it was just a really cool experience. Again, meeting everyone from different parts of the world, and we all had one thing that we really enjoyed and we loved, which was you know, MechWarrior Online, Battletech. And, you know, talking to a lot of the guys, and again, going back to, a lot of them didn't know what to expect from MechCon, right? You know, they didn't know what it was going to be like, what it was going to, you know, what was PGI going to do. And I think Heim Delight, you know, made a post, I think it was yesterday on Reddit, and I think he said it the best, which was, you know, they didn't know what to expect, and the bar was raised. They were. I remember talking to Proton and Heim, and they were like, you know, holy crap, this raised the bar for a first ever MechCon and championship. It definitely, it was awesome. And of course, yeah, just like everyone was saying, there's we know that if there is going to be a 2017 MechCon, that there will need to be changes to the tournament and the brackets and how all that seeding, all that. We know that. Map selection, we know that. Possibly even mechs as well. But for a first attempt, it went awesome. And for me, being behind the scenes, and Darren and everyone behind, PGI working behind the scenes, the biggest thing for us was you guys, the viewers watching on Twitch. Was it smooth? Was it, effortless? Was it the transitions good, audio good, visuals good? And, those are the type of things that I felt like went very, very well. And, and so we can take all of that, apply what we learned, and then move if we are going to do a 2017. And I hope we do. It would. I think this should be an every year thing. I think that's what it should be. But that's just my opinion. Let's see. So yeah, we had the rounds, the main event, right? And then we had History Battletech with Russ, Jordan, Mitch, and Randall. And guys, I just want to give again. The amount of work Darren has done behind the scenes and even during the tournament, making sure everything was going as smooth as possible. This guy has literally been... So, Mama Bear, I know I said it. I'm proud of you. You did a fantastic job being the host. I know it wiped him out. He was mentally exhausted by the end of the night. But you did a fantastic job, and I just want to say thank you again for all the effort you put in. And the reason I bring up he was just exhausted, was he had been handling all the paperwork for a lot of the guests and teams and just everything behind the scenes, let alone just being there as well. He just did a phenomenal job. So as always, Darren, great job. And then we had the presentation by Catalyst and Hairbrained, and then, Piranha Games. Now, the Hairbrained stuff, we sort of already knew. They sort of covered some of the stuff that was released in their email prior to the MechCon. And so let me just take a moment. I actually got to finally play Battletech, the game. Finally, I was able to. And the good news is, it was fantastic. The bad news was it was still the old Gen Con one, so it wasn't like an updated one that you guys hadn't seen yet. Now they did update. They had the Griffin and Trebuchet. They switched out some of the mechs that you were able to play with, but I enjoyed it. Very fun. I can't wait to see where that game's going. And for those that did as you guys heard, backers. January, February, they said the closed beta will be happening. And I asked, and you guys saw, for streamers out there, you will be able to stream. There's no like NDAs where you can't stream it. So you bet we will be streaming Battletech the game right here on NGNG TV as soon as we can. Maybe even sooner. I don't know. Who knows? Really dug the sort of the background story. And again, if you didn't check out, they just released a Kickstarter update, so make sure to go read that. And for those, again, you can still back that project if you want. You can still do that. We had various Q&As throughout the day. Now, keep in mind, this is one of those things where we will be making improvements if and when. I keep saying if. Like, there has to be a 2017. There has to be a 2017 MechCon. But one of the things that we realized was, maybe next year, those Q&As should be front and center up on the stage or up front and broadcasted and stuff like that. I felt like there could be some improvements. They were sort of spread out, and for the people that were there, that was nice. But for the stream and stuff, we need to make sure in the future that those are broadcasted, everything. So that was one of the things that we actually talked about afterwards, of, hey, if we're doing this again, an improvement. So for those that made that note, the 1v1 map, by the way, I want more of that. I want the other 2v244 maps. Dennis, if you're watching, I feel like Dennis and Elizabeth, you guys did a fantastic job. Obviously, it's a very small map, but aesthetically, I know that you were able to pour a lot more, into it as far as because it is a smaller map. But I think the 1v1 Solaris just showed how enjoyable it can be. And the first thing pops up for me is, is this something that we want to see in game? How could you spin that? Would it be a ranked ladder, or this or that? And one of the ideas that me and Darren talked about was, I think that a Solaris system, and this is like perfect scenario. If you were to ask me, Phil, do you think Solaris should be in game? And this is my response: no. What are you talking about? This is what I propose. I think if the best scenario is this, PGI sees that there's a want and need for Solaris and ranked, ladder play and stuff like that. I think we should have an API system that kicks out a battle ID report. And the reason I say this, why it's so important, is then you let the community take it, do whatever they want with it, right? And run with the ball. I've seen so many games that have an API system like this, EVE Online, stuff like that, to where you literally could have multiple leagues or one central league out there that really takes it and is able to plug in. Again, you fight, it creates a battle ID, you're able to plug that battle ID right into a browser, plug it in, and it pulls up all the information and all that. And it allows PGI to create the tool sets and tools needed, but then the community takes and runs with it. And then also, and again, this is just my opinion, you guys, is that then PGI could support said leagues on an official basis with gifts or prizes and stuff like that. And they don't have to worry about trying to cater to a million different ideas, right? They don't have to cater towards that. They don't have to try to design Solaris around that. The leagues could do that themselves. The players, we know what we want, right? We know what we want, and I feel like that would be fantastic if we had an API system that kicked out battle reports, and that would be fantastic. And then you can think of, we could have multiple different Solaris style maps on private lobbies and go from there. So, and with an API system as well, I'm about to drink some coffee. You can almost imagine some type of lobby system being created to facilitate that. Again, tools, right? You're not, and I don't know. To me, I just feel like that would be, it's a win-win. The community knows what they want, and instead of trying to cater to a million different possibilities and answers and opinions and thoughts, let the community decide and push forward. And again, I just feel like the 1v1 was a huge hit, and I know that if we do a 2017, that should be like front and center. I feel like there should be more to that. I think a lot of people enjoyed the downtime between the finals matches and in between Solaris, and maybe even having those being shoutcast and stuff like that. And quick shout out to Laura BB Wolf. A fantastic job. She was over there the entire time, worked her ass off again. And I know that ran a whole hell of a lot smoother than it could have been with her being there. So thank you again, Laura. You did a fantastic job. So yeah, the entire day was just packed. It was a little bit different working behind the scenes, right? But it was so cool. Like, and then Russ gets up on stage, and me and Darren have known about MechWarrior 5 for a bit now, and we hadn't seen it, we hadn't seen the footage that the trailer that was released until we got there, and we were able to see it Friday. And it is a live demo. He actually sits down and plays it. The difference you notice is the live recording during Twitch. looked different than the one what's on YouTube, because it literally was him playing two different times, actually multiple times, and I I think words sort of escape. We knew how big the potential was, right? And I mean, it was like, holy shit, this is MechWarrior 5 Mercenaries single player. Do you, like, you know, like, people are gonna lose their shit. And from my perspective, I was literally out on the ballroom floor, and I'm looking up at Russ. I was off to his right, off to the, you know, main stage left, and the trailer's going on. People are losing their shit. And when the MechWarrior 5 came up in the fiery letters, and, you know, MechWarrior 5 Mercenaries, I looked to my right, and this is the best sort of reaction I'd seen, was that front row of viewers. Mech the Dane was there, and his face was pure ecstasy. It was like, fucking right, like everyone was like, yeah, you're right. And to see that the entire crowd was losing their shit, I was like, Russ just needs to drop the mic and just fucking walk off stage. It had just been like, game over, man. Like, it was really cool. And you know, it's funny because me and Darren were monitoring the chat prior, because, you know, oh, announcements, what's it gonna be? Oh, it's gonna be another mech pack, and it's gonna be, you know, this and that. And we saw a few people like, you know, it'd be really cool, but they're never gonna do it. And then so the reveal, I think, worked out fantastic. I think it caught everyone off guard. I mean, you know, and so now we have it, guys. 2018, we have a single player experience. How many people out there, right, just want that, right? You want to be the hero. You want to be, you know, the villain. You want to be that taking charge of, you know, you and your story. Now you're gonna have it. And anyways, I'm excited because what this means. And by the way, that dropship is fucking gigantic. The Union class, by the way, it fits 12 atlases. They did the inside and everything. I don't know if I'm supposed to say that, but I just did. Oops. It's a legit freaking ginormous. It's not gonna be like your MechWarrior 4 very first mission where you're in a Shadowcat and you can take out a whole like starport full of dropships. No, you get your shit, you know, kicked in. So what do we know so far about it? There's been a lot of articles. Obviously, PC Gamer did one, a bunch of other ones. I think they pretty much said, you know, storyline 3015 all the way up to pre-clan invasion. I think there was somewhere that said 3049-ish, somewhere, or 3048. I think that's what the article said. They're gonna be, it is Unreal 4. Aesthetically, you could see the difference when you're watching it. For those that were watching at home, when he's walking up to the Shadowhawk and he looks at the leg, you saw how clear and detailed the texture was. Obviously, they don't have to worry about, you know, host state rewind and all that. They can dump in the resources in that. You know, it looks up and just those chills, and yeah. So anyways, yeah, it was a pretty big thing. I mean, we knew it was gonna be. It's one of those where, like, me as a player, my inner kid was like, holy shit. And you know, like, I knew you guys were gonna have the reaction you did, but you know, there's always that in the back of your head, like, oh, are they gonna be excited as I am, you know? And yeah, so there's that. But yeah, the entire MechCon, man, was just, it was a roller coaster ride. And, you know, unfortunately those things come to an end, and we all have to go home and go to our daily lives. But I just wanted to say thank you to everyone that I met. And if I didn't get to meet you, I apologize. Next year, hopefully, and we had people that drove 28 hours to be there. We had people that flew from the other side of the world. I had someone give me actual Swiss chocolate from the source, the motherland of the chocolate itself. Thank you, the eraser, by the way. My wife said thank you as well. Just the entire experience was phenomenal, and the base, the bar has been set, and I think so many of you guys, saw that as well, and make sure it's like I was telling the comp teams afterwards that all those guys were like, oh my god, this surprised us, this was fantastic. And again, I remember talking to him and say, you know what, let people know your experiences, let people know everything. And yeah, so kudos to everyone that was there and shared that, and more interviews with the people would be cool. Yeah, most definitely. So again, there are definitely things that if and when 2017 is announced, we will definitely be taking a look at and improving upon. And yeah, so it was just an all day of just being a Battletech fan, and since I've been 12, I've never had that sort of experience. Even at the Steam launch party, even at the launch party in San Fran, I think, and we had a few people that were had been to San Fran and this, and of course I think it was just one of those where it was worlds and leagues ahead of what that experience was for what that was. But yeah, so again, I don't think I'm missing anything. I'm gonna go ahead and ask you guys questions in chat. Feel free, just tag me at NGNGTV, and I will do my best to answer them. Oh yeah, so shit, I didn't even talk about the other stuff that was presented. We have the new game mode, 2 new game modes, right? Assault and Escort. By the way, the Escort mission, the Atlas, does have more survivability than normal. People were wondering if it would have, more structure. I can confirm it does. It has some other tidbits as well. The Assault game mode, what else do we got? The CW changes that were coming, we knew were coming. That was the last roundtable, so those changes are coming. So I think a lot of people are going to enjoy those. We'll have to dive in and take a look. And then one of the big ones I feel like is skill tree. So much discussion about skill tree since it's came out. What are my initial thoughts? I think it's a positive direction for the game. Now, let me cover all the bases here, just so one, you now are going to have to choose, what do I pour the SP and GXP into. So quirks are going the wayside, but now as a Timberwolf pilot, keep it in mind, I don't know if you've thought about this, but imagine dropping right now in the game with no basics done. That's how your mech is going to feel agility wise. With, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's how it's going to feel. So as a Timberwolf pilot, are you going to dump your points into firepower and protection, or are you going to dump them into agility? Or what happens if now that modules and stuff are are you going to dump anything in infotech, seismic sensor, radar deprivation? Are you going to take away from your firepower potential, right, getting bonuses, to radar deprivation, right? So there's some unique perspectives. We don't know all the details. We don't know if there will be certain trees locked out. We don't, to certain mechs. We don't know if it's all available to everyone. We don't know all the little details, and I think there will be a post soon about that. But this has the potential to dive into a little bit of like class specialty, warfare. and I'm really excited about that. And then with that, what happens if what about infotech to some extent? Will you feel like it's worth it if you're a Kodiak or a Direwolf or an Atlas? Do you go all ham, right? Do you even worry about the agility aspects? And to me also, what I look at is if you take like the Locust 1V or a mech that really doesn't have a whole lot of firepower, you may not want to invest in firepower on this skill tree. You may want to go all agility and infotech. And someone's like, well, that's not going to win you the match per se. But we all know how important popping a UAV is or having a lock on someone. What happens if your sensor range isn't 800 meters anymore? I mean, what happens if you have certain mechs that can lock onto you, share information, locate where you are, and you have, I just feel like seismic and radar depth and a lot of those modules were so powerful, and having them their go-tos on a mech, and now you will have to decide, do I want those aspects or do I want agility, protection, firepower? I feel like it's gonna be unique. I feel like that it's gonna open the doors to the min-max nature. I don't know if it'll be just straight, because again, like I said, agility. Imagine where your mech is before you basic anything. That's what the baseline of a mech is. We know how sluggish is a mech. So do you want that sort of agility, or do you want the faster responsiveness? But anyways, to me, it's really unique. I'm looking forward to it. Now, I know there's a lot of discussion on how much, how many nodes are, how much GXP or XP would it take to unlock. And I'll tell you this, guys, you can't unlock everything. You will not be able to do that. You will have finite amount of points to invest in. So if you do go all ham into just firepower nodes and protection, you're not going to go all the way down the trees and fill them out. And you can't. We have to move away of the mastery idea, right? You can't master a mech anymore. That's not how this system works. It's if you go all down the firepower tree for whatever reason, you invest all of your points into just all those, you're done. That's all the points that you have. So I don't know. There's a lot of questions that I know out there, and I know a lot of them will be answered in a post, but I'm really excited just for the fact of what this potentially means for class and specialty warfare, and I guess the ability to go off there, and of course, what does this mean to classes and specialties and sort of roles, right? So let's see. Leon's Deflaman asks, so with quirks being the one thing that kept IS competitive, and it's with its removal, any idea about clan versus IS on that one? I think it's fair to say that if anything, this will be a great opportunity to see actually where IS and clan balance is. Now, we haven't really been able to see this for a while now, and I think one thing the community will have to be aware of is when the skill tree goes live, and because all quirks, and even on clan, some of the worst mechs as far as performance were clan, or are clan mechs. I think this will allow us to see where the baseline is, and the players will have to understand, and also PGI needs to be very, very clear of saying, this is like phase one. We get it. There's going to be issues. We understand it. We're going to try to fix them as soon as possible. But where is the balance between clan and IS mechs? Flat out. Not worried about the minutia that is, mechs between mechs, because again, that's something that's always going to be there. But where is clan versus IS balance altogether? And I think this is a great opportunity to finally tune that. So we don't have these huge gaps. Hopefully that answers your question, Leon. I think it's going to be very pertinent, especially with CW changes coming. But that being said, is instead of having a few layers of things on top, now it just strips it out. Let's fix those base systems and let's go from there. Let me see. Let me scroll up here. I don't want to miss anybody's questions. Skyhawk says, why should I buy a $20, $35 mech pack with 4 to 5 mechs when I just need one because of the new skill tree? Actually, that's a good question. You know, that actually opens the door to, do we need mech packs of where they are right now, how they're done? And actually, I think that's a good conversation question when we do the we're going to do another town hall. I think possibly within a week or two before the holidays with Russ. And I think that's a very good question, because it opens opportunities to say, whereas before, you know, you wanted to come out with, well, mech with at least 4, right? 3 basics and a hero. Do we need that sort of system anymore? And I'll even go out on a limb and say, what happens if, would it be crazy to say, maybe if you took a particular chassis or variant that had mechs that were very, very similar, like Stalker. We have 2 Stalkers that there's one difference. One has AMS, the other one doesn't. Do we really need that second one? So there are questions like that. I think it, without being tied into having 3 of each, it allows those type of, you know, maybe they come out with a you know, hey, buy this one variant, you know, specialty, stuff like that. I don't know. That's actually a very good question. Why should we lose skill points when we want to respec that makes testing new loadouts very expensive? I agree. I think that topic specifically, that can be very penalizing towards new players. I understand you need a C-bill and a GXP sync per se. And of course, we've already seen sort of the kickback from players in discussions as far as the respec in general. But I feel like that's a discussion, and I know I'm going to be bringing that personally up with Russ on around the town hall as well. So, you know, it should be one of those where it's more about convenience and free to play titles. And what I mean by this, and for those that don't know, okay, so you take the skill tree. Let's just say you had that Jenner, you know, 7-up. And you did the whatever setup on it and you spec'd it. Well, basically what, you know, he's asking is, and at least the answers we have so far is that it will cost you C-bills to get rid of a node, but then you lose the XP you invested. And how I look at it is, you may want 2 Jenners with 2 separate nodes. And so let's just say I use this Jenner for, this is like the go-to setup always, but I want to screw around. Well, as a convenience factor, even if you have 1, it means you have to go in there and you have to take the time to move around the nodes and whatever, right? That's the convenience factor, sort of the idea of. Whereas in this case, with what we've had explained, is it would actually, you would lose XP. Well, obviously that's not pertinent, right? You wouldn't want to do that. So I think that's really the question. Is Jaliker is should it just be more of a convenience factor to where, you know, maybe I have a Timberwolf Prime, and that Timberwolf Prime has 2 Peeps and a Goss, and I have my 1 skill tree set up for that. Right now, convenience factor, I want to switch over to 4 SRM4s and small pulse lasers. Well, the convenience factor is if I have 2 of them, then I can have a separate, you know, spreadsheet, separate skill tree to be able to do whatever I want. But if I don't, for the convenience factor, I only own 1, I'll have to take the time to like go in there and mess around, right? Convenience factor, but you're not necessarily held back by the respec of like C-bills or losing a GXP. I think that's what a lot of people would rather have, is it's just a time commitment. Like, and a lot of people I think would still own 2 Timberwolves just for that reason. Some people wouldn't, right? But it's about convenience. Like, oh, well, then I would have to have a second one, which means C-bill investment for the mech, MC for the mech bay. Some people that wouldn't be worth enough, but then some people I think would. So Does that answer your question? I think, let me know if it does. Let me go up here. Let's see. Highlander and Victor's better get some great jump jet skills at GNG TV. I feel like jump jets just need a little bit of an overhaul in general, CK. And it just, let's be honest, the Victor and Highlander, when they came out, were unique in their own right because you had an assault that could pop tart, and you had an assault that could pop tart and was relatively fast with the Victor. The jump jet nerfs that happened directly affected those, and then also we have other mechs that have came out that have sort of surpassed them in performance, and I feel like that's another conversation. Let's see here. Oh, and okay, gotcha. I think another thing to talk about is champion mechs, trial mechs, if you will. I think what could be done too is that, let's just say, let's take the Timberwolf, right? The dual large pulse, 3 ER medium, 4 ER medium Timberwolf, right? As a trial mech. The cool thing that I look at as the new skill tree is that those would already be hard-coded locked in. So like you would take the min-max setup of a Timberwolf, in this case, dual large pulse, 3 or 4 mediums, and that the skill tree would already be filled out for the player. Now, where this is different than the current is that if a new player comes in here and uses a trial mech, they get no bonuses on the skill tree right now, right? Because you can't mess with the skill tree. So I feel like that's another bonus that could potentially help new players, is that the skill trees are already done for that particular build of that min-max setup for trial mechs. I think that would be huge, and I don't see why we shouldn't be able to do that. And I know I'll be passing that information on. I was having that conversation about trials, and I feel like, and again, that sort of means, however min-max set up the node system for skill tree can go, any trial mech coming in here should already have that done for them, and it shouldn't be like 0. Like, you shouldn't have to deal with not having any skill points in that. Bandit, I just talked about that. I feel like I know exactly how the community feels, and I agree with them. So I feel like that's more of a discussion for Russ on the town hall. I just talked about that though. But for those that are listening on YouTube or SoundCloud, he was asking about, did I already talk about the losing XP if you reset it with C-Bills and skill tree? But yeah, guys, if you have any more questions, again, continue to tag me at NGNGTV in chat, and I'll try to answer them from my perspective. Let me go up here. Spiral Face says, I need to ask the most important question. Is Pirate Phil going to make an appearance at MechCon next year? No. Just a heads up, and obviously you guys that come here every single day, I will not be streaming and drinking. That's a personal choice, but also me and Darren talked about it. I like my job, and when you're drunk, sometimes when you're drunk, you don't always have control, and you may say stupid shit or do stupid shit. So you will not see Pirate Phil. If I'm not streaming and at just MechCon, well, I'll always be working at MechCon if there's another one. But if there's an event of some sort where I'm not working, that's a different question. But yeah, so hopefully that answers your question, Spiral. But overall, it's been fantastic week. Like I said, it goes by like a blur, and you're like, okay. Let's see. Sorry, I was called away for a sec. And this is from Areka Suni. I don't know if I pronounced it correctly. He says, that was my biggest worry when I saw a skill tree. Doesn't it make variants kind of pointless in a lot of cases? For instance, why have more than one Black Knight if they're all identical? Sorry if this has been answered. Well, no, not necessarily. I think this brings up more of a question of, are your variants different enough? Hunchbacks are a great example. You have the 4G, the 4SP, right? The 4J, I mean, those in itself are very, very different. But then you do get into mechs that are very similar. And that's why I proposed the question. Should PGI consider, now that they don't have that three, mech to master, should they look at mechs that have multiple variants that are so damn similar that there's no point? I.e., there's trebuchets like that, there's stalkers like that. You know what I'm saying? Like, if all that distinguishes a mech from another variant is it has AMS and it doesn't have AMS, should they just remove it? So anyways, those are the type of questions I say at least have that conversation, I guess. But then also going into the future, they can be very selective on what variants and mechs they want to bring in. They no longer have to create mechs just to create them, to get 3 or 4, variants. Like, for instance, the Marauder 2C coming out. Now, with this type of system, there may only be canon of 2. Well, technically, they could bring out just 2 Marauder 2Cs, right? Technically. Does that make sense, Suni? Hopefully that answers your question. All right, let me just go over here. Probably give it probably like 2 more questions, and then I'm gonna go to wrap it up. Considering I've been going over an hour. Mama Bear isn't here though. But by the way, that picture is fantastic. Like, I think was it Zoif? By the way, it was awesome meeting you. He is literally the cuddliest little bear ever. Like, he is the sweetest dude. He is who he is online. There's totally candy in the legs. That's all I gotta say. He's there. Yeah. But that is a fantastic picture. Why does he always get the good pictures? Like, I've got a picture of me eating a cookie, like, and he's like up there, looks all professional. Just saying, cookies are better anyway. But yeah, no, it was a whirlwind. This next patch, really looking forward to diving in here. The new game modes. I'm interested to see how the assault plays out, and of course, also when we move into next year, 2017, what that's going to mean for the skill tree and class and specialty and stuff, and then obviously what that does to the game. So I think that'll be quite fun to watch. Well, you play a cicada, kind of a cookie mech. This is true. Yeah, guys, I just want to say thank you for coming out here. Hopefully you enjoyed the solo Phil rant podcast. Again, Darren does not feel well. He was not able. We were actually supposed to record last night, and he was like, hey, I don't feel too well. I've got my daughter's birthday. Let me try for tomorrow. And I sent him a text, and he was like, no, it's not happening. I feel and look like shit. So, again, Mama Bear, hopefully you feel better if you're listening. He may not be. He may be asleep. But just want to say great job up there at MechCon. And, of course, before we wrap up here, I just want to say thank you so much for being an amazing community. Quick shout outs to all the teams involved throughout the year of the tournament. Huge shout outs to EMP, Eon, and of course 228. You guys did fantastic. It was awesome watching you guys play, and of course to meet you guys. Huge shout outs to PGI and all the staff behind the scenes. Just the amount of work that went into MechCon, logistics. Matt Newman, you are and will continue to be just fantastic. Thank you, man, for all the work you do. And of course, just to the community out there. Yeah, you guys, thank you so much for being who you are and the positivity you bring to just us daily here. And I saw that at MechCon too. So anyways, guys, shout out to, of course, all of our new listeners, new and old. If you're new to the channel, make sure to click that follow button. Make sure to check us out on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube. We got all those links down below. I just want to say thank you again to all of our supporters, subscribers out there. Thank you guys so much for supporting us here at NGNG TV, and of course our patrons as well. Yeah, as always, it's been a pleasure, guys. We will be back next Wednesday, unless Darren's still sick, which I hope not. And we'll hopefully have HBS on before their open beta or closed beta. And I know we're going to be having a town hall. I think it might be next week. So yeah, I'll let you guys know. I'm thinking it's next week. but I'll let you guys know. But this was your local No Guts, No Galaxy MechWarrior podcast, signing off for tonight. This is Phil. Until next time, Mech Warriors. Peace. No, Darren. It feels so weird.